Hi, I'm Shannon Simmons, and I'm presenting on the article Research Proven Instructional Strategies Engage, Motivate, and Support Students in Meeting Higher Standards. My article first looked at authentic activities, projects, problems, and cooperative learning strategies to help students intellectually, emotionally, socially, and behaviorally learn in the classroom. One strategy was rigor, was relevant to the real world, intellectual engaging, goal oriented, opportunities to provided for all, and readiness through test data and EOC exams. The purpose of rigor is to bring real world into the classroom. It has improved in learning and expanded curriculum infused with world class rigor aligned with national and international standards, as well as another strategy is the master ruler. It's a hands-on math activity used to transfer concepts by having students measure to scale and distance on a map of their rooms. This is a real life skill that students could use in a career or post-secondary education. Another strategy is material science. This is project-based curriculum that investigates properties, processes, and technologies related to metals, ceramics, polymers, and composites. The students use these common materials and study them that are used in everyday life. Another strategy is career technical education competency attainment rubric. This is used for knowledge attainment to demonstrate comprehension, technical skills, consistently use technical skills that adapt to emerging technologies that students need to be 21st century learners. And it also looks at problem solving, working independently and collaboratively to identify, analyze, and solve authentic problems. Also, cooperative learning, which we know is a best practice used in lots of classrooms where students work together in order to attain a certain goal or to produce a product. Project-based learning, where students are learning across the discipline areas. It is work-based learning and inventions and improvements to address real products and consumer needs. It's a strategy used for students who maybe have more trouble with writing or mathematics, but it uses a cross curriculum and has them do a lot of hands-on activities for them to be able to see the learning taking place in front of their eyes. Also, one strategy was infusing fine arts, using music, drama, and art to teach skills for students needed for high school and beyond. And they had various ways that you could integrate art into mathematics, science, social studies, and language arts. Some of the drawbacks that I saw with this is specifically the one that focused on art, music, and drama. This strategy does not focus enough on the standards that are mandated by the state and seems to be for me to be focused more on one type of learner, the students who enjoy that art, music, and dance and drama type thing. However, I felt like these strategies did have lots of strengths. Authentic learning, we know, is a strategy that works for all students. I hesitate to say all, but almost all students. When you take learning and you make it relevant to their life and you show them how it will impact them now and in the future, students learn from that. They have to be able to transfer those concepts to their own life. Also, the career technology strategy I enjoyed because it took the standards and aligned them with the industry standards in order to prepare students for career post-secondary education. Also, if you look at the greater use for reading, writing, numeracy, and researching the learning tools to motivate students, obviously we know when students are motivated that they are learning. This focused more on the literacy across the curriculum, having students reading. The more students read, the better readers they are, the more successful they are in life. That is what that strategy is based on. Then also we had a literacy teacher work with an agricultural teacher to focus on those vocabulary building strategies and writing strategies, taking that across the curriculum. Also looking at literacy and character development. This was a summer camp that was set up for students that was for 4 hours. In the morning, they focused on intensive reading instruction. In the afternoon, they focused on character instruction. What I enjoyed about this article is this statement: it does not take $1 million program. It is caring, committed, literate adults who are willing to spend time to develop a student's reading skills. Also, raising math achievement. The school saturated the administration saturated the school with numeracy. It's, instead of taking the concept of literacy across the curriculum, it's looking at numeracy a lot across the curriculum and building those authentic based, activity based lessons for students and how they will use this in their lives. The only concern I had was I felt like these strategies focus more on students who are struggling more than all of the students, and giving them all real world learning opportunities. I felt like this was more directed for students who were having difficulty with reading and helping them find the importance for being literate. However, I believe that these are great strategies. I just don't know how much of these strategies were directly related to preparing somebody to be a career and post-secondary ready, other than you need to be literate in order to be able to find a career or to go to college. Also, we looked at promoting grading practices that motivate and develop students to be independent. We looked at the power of I and redo policies, saying that no student's work is incomplete. You must do the skill until you have mastery. That focuses on not allowing students to fail. Using differentiated instruction, having a positive school culture, a culture that allows students to shine, to work collaboratively, and to have success. Also, we looked at students becoming relevant. We want them to work together to feel a part of the school, empowering students to create possibilities. Also, redefining a school culture. This is where administrators conduct comprehensive assessments for each teacher. They changed the grading scale. It focused less on the daily grades and more on high-stake assessments. The number of advanced placement classes increased, and students were honored for Students of the Month or for having high GPAs. The drawback that I saw was with the power of I and redo. What do you do about those students who just continue to refuse to do the work, or they say I'm done and they don't care about getting to mastery? What is the backup plan for those students? Because in life, if you're prepared for college and you don't do the work, you get an F. There's nobody after you to make you complete activities until you have mastery. Positives that I see is that differentiated instruction is known in research based to be proven to reach all learners in your school. Students must learn when students will learn when materials are presented to meet their needs. Also, making learning relevant to their lives and challenging students is the best practice strategy that can be incorporated in every school. Looking at developed support strategies to motivate students to participate in extra help. This is focusing on those students who need course recovery or need some extensive help or need to make up a class that they have failed. Having after-school programs, having upperclassmen mentor freshmen to help them get ready for high school graduation or to prepare them for college and career readiness. The drawback that I see for this is that this is a best practices in this section. I didn't really see how it related to career and college ready other than for the mentoring program. To me, it was more for helping students graduate, but not necessarily getting them prepared for a career or post-secondary education. To me, it was more of just completing those credit hours that are needed in order to graduate. Some of the other resources that would be available are what research says about differentiated instruction, authentic learning for the 21st century, retention and student success, implementing strategies that make a difference, and 10 ways to promote student engagement.